The movie opens with the Queen of Sweden hearing her subject begging her to save their kingdom. Her name is Queen Christina, and she's still a young woman who lost her father, the king, years back. As the only heir of the king, Christina had to succeed her father, even though it wasn't a common practice for women to reign back in the 17th century. Christina is a brilliant young woman, always curious to learn new things. After her father passed away when she was just a teenager, Christina's mother, Maria Eleonora, kept his body for 2 years and forced Christina to kiss him goodnight every day. Not only that, but she holds his heart inside a dome to stare at. She's only waiting for her moment to pass away and be reunited with him. One day, the kingdom's chancellor, Axel, invaded her quarters to take Christina away from her, calling her mad, and forcing her to bury the king properly. Christina knows her mother isn't well, and decided to leave with the chancellor back to the castle. On her first day back, Christina needs to face an examination in front of a bunch of noblemen. It's humiliating for a teenage girl to stand almost so the men can analyze her. The physician announces she's in good health, with the exception of a bruise on her shoulder from when she fell as a baby. Her father, on the other hand, loved and cherished her. He knew he wouldn't have another child, since the queen had already lost many babies, so Christina is his legitimate heir. Over the years in court, Christina is trained to be the next queen. She is given books to read, and has philosophical discussions with Chancellor Axel. Christina has a fiery temper and a witty mind. Her gender doesn't prevent her from being smart. When she's 18, she receives her father's sword and blessing to become queen. Christina has many suitors, men interested in the throne and power. When she's finally crowned, people stare at her as if she's a ripe fruit to be taken. Christina, though, enjoys the weight of the crown on her head. She likes to be respected and admired. She wants to be subversive and not follow the rules that were written before she was even born. During her coronation feast, Christina meets a beautiful woman by the name of Ebra. She's betrothed to a count, and it's her first time in court. Christina suddenly loses her voice when she sees Ebra. The countess also takes an interest in the queen. Christina can't stop staring at her, and every so often, Ebra glances at her too. In her speech, Christina mentions that she desires to make Sweden the most sophisticated country in Europe. She wants people to read and learn about the arts. She doesn't want ignorance to reign anymore. Most people in her court aren't sold by her ideals. They prefer to keep the status quo. Having a queen is enough of a progression. Christina is very stubborn, though, and her wish is law. When she states her desire to end the war between Protestants and Catholics, there's a roar of voices protesting. Sweden has been in that war for over 30 years. Christina's father, and countless soldiers, passed away fighting for their ideals. Some people believe it's blasphemy to let their sacrifice be in vain. Christina leaves the feast without saying another word, and her loyal followers go after her. The ones who don't agree with her start plotting. On her way to her room, Count Magnus, a man who is one of the queen's most trusted allies, proposes marriage. Christina finds his proposal absurd and declines it. Magnus tries to talk her into accepting, assuring her that he will support her ideas, and Christina yells at him that she won't. She feels as if people aren't taking her seriously and only see her as a pawn to be played in the game. Christina sends Count Magnus to France, and her cousin, the man who could replace her as king, to Germany. Later on, Christina goes around the castle, wearing her male clothes and goofing around. She accidentally meets Ebra, but they don't talk to each other. The ambassador of France, Pierre, who was invited by Christina to her coronation, starts plotting with the Catholic Church to get Christina's favor. In the meantime, Christina makes more enemies than friends in her court. She also sends an important ally, Chancellor Axel's son Johann, to Germany to represent her. Johann has always supported Christina in the hopes of conquering her, but it seems like his effort was in vain. He's angry that Christina only thinks about herself, but his father warns him to be patient. What they don't know is that Christina has set her eyes on someone else. She asks Ebra to be her lady-in-waiting, though she has ulterior motives. Christina can barely mask her desire for Ebra. For the first time in her life, her heart is beating harder for someone else. It's a feeling she never felt around men, no matter how handsome or smart they are. Ebra, though, is something else. She's beautiful, with a sweet disposition. Ebra follows Christina eagerly. Not only is being a queen's lady-in-waiting a huge honor, but Ebra admires Christina a lot. She speaks freely about her ideas and is rather seductive. One day, as she's having dinner with Christina and Pierre, Axel arrives and lectures them about their lack of decorum. Ebra shouldn't be dining with the queen, and Pierre is a Catholic. Christina should be careful around him. She's angry at Axel for his interruption and the way he treated Ebra, but Axel is only looking out for her. He's fighting hard for her wishes to be respected, but he warns her that she needs to act accordingly. Frolicking with a servant and a Catholic isn't the way to help her in her revolution. Unbeknownst to them, Ebra is eavesdropping, and she's nervous. Christina starts falling more for Ebra as the days go by. She doesn't understand her feelings, though she also doesn't run from them. Trying to uncover why she's feeling like this for another woman, she writes to René Descartes, a famous French philosopher. She wants to know about love and how to get rid of unwanted feelings. Descartes replies that there are 2 types of love, and one of them is lust. Christina finds herself even more curious about finding out the meaning of lust. Axel notices that Christina watches Ebra more often than is common. He tries to change Christina's mind about being more feminine, especially when she receives many new dresses as gifts. Instead of wearing them, Christina allows Ebra to use them. When Ebra tries to leave to change in another room, Christina forces her to change in front of her. Ebra feels self-conscious and nervous, but does as the queen asks. Christina can't take her eyes off Ebra, and it shows in her expression. Christina asks how her husband looks at her, and Ebra replies that he sees only her external beauty. Christina helps her button up the dress, and ends up touching Ebra while she blushes. Ebra doesn't know what to think or how to feel. The queen's soft touch makes her skin flush, and her heart beats faster. It's a strange sensation to feel for a woman. Unbeknownst to them, Christina's other maid, Erica, overhears the two of them. Christina also gifts Ebra with a pair of gloves. The two of them start getting closer and loving each other's company. Noticing their relationship, Axel decides to intervene. He doesn't believe the way Christina is behaving is advantageous for her reputation. She needs to think of marriage and making alliances to support her ideas, not fooling around with her maid. Christina, annoyed by his pestering, rudely brushes him off. She has no intentions of disregarding Ebra, no matter what people say about them. Things are strained between Christina and Axel. He realizes that Christina is idealistic and often does things without thinking about the consequences. Recently, she has set her eyes on Prague and the mysteries she heard about the place. Christina has also started doing more for Ebra. She hires a painter to paint her wearing her new dress and admires her with a salacious look. Johan comes back from Germany, and Christina is very happy. Johan aspires to marry Christina one day, but when he sees Ebra's portrait and how spoiled she is, he starts doubting his chances. Everyone in the kingdom knows how stubborn Christina is. When her mind is set, no one can change it. As for Christina, she knows Johan is interested in her, though not for the right reasons. He wants her position and title, like many other men. A few days go by, and Christina starts making advancements towards her peace negotiations. The first step for her is to conquer Prague. When she mentions that she told her cousin to invade the place, her advisors are all surprised. She didn't warn anyone about her plans. People begrudgingly accept her desires, though once again, they are not satisfied. Christina is also having secret encounters with the French ambassador, despite Axel's advice that she keeps away. Unbeknownst to her, the ambassador is manipulating her opinion by using her favorite philosopher, Descartes. As a show of goodwill, he gifts Christina Descartes' new work, hoping to hear her opinion of it. Christina is more than eager to accept, and even offers asylum to Descartes in Sweden. Before their conversation can move forward, Ebra arrives and takes away Christina's attention. Johan catches the two of them talking, and he isn't happy with what he sees. He feels chill to the bone, watching how fond is Christina's expression. In the meantime, Axel catches the French ambassador leaving, and warns him to stay away from Christina. The ambassador promises he has nothing but good intentions in relation to Christina, but Axel doesn't believe him. He knows there's a plot to make Christina change her idea about Catholicism. Later on, a citizen sees Christina, and she has to give a speech to the people. She starts solemnly talking about the past war and quoting philosophers, until Axel interrupts her to announce free beer for everyone. It's only then that people cheer and celebrate. Christina suddenly realizes that people don't care about philosophy or books. They live a hard life and need something to take their minds off things. Axel knows it well, but Christina needs to learn that not everyone has the privilege of an education, like she did. Most people don't even know how to read, and they are fine with it. It's a reality that contrasts with what Christina wants to build in her country. She wants Sweden to be the most artistic and cultural place in Europe, but for that to happen, she needs to change a fundamental part of her society. Later that day, Ebra and Christina are alone in her bedroom before she sleeps. Christina mentions to Ebra that her father used to have a nobleman who warmed his bed before he slept, and she wants Ebra to do the same to her. Ebra isn't very comfortable with the idea or the title. She will no longer be known as the Queen's Lady-in-Waiting, but as the Queen's bed warmer. Resigned, Ebra lies down next to Christina. The Queen can't keep her eyes off Ebra, and the Lady-in-Waiting tries not to fidget. Before they sleep, Christina advances on Ebra and kisses her on the cheek. She confesses she wants to kiss Ebra, though she doesn't know what to do. Ebra decides to take control of the situation and kisses her on the lips. Unbeknownst to them, Erica eavesdrops, and she's shocked. To make things worse, she's pregnant with a married man's child, and she feels hopeless. As Erica freaks out, Johan sees her and takes her to his room. There, he makes a deal with her. He will help her lose the and in exchange, she will become his ears and eyes. Erica is in a difficult position. The Queen despises pregnant women, and she would fire her if she found out she was caring for a child. Erica doesn't want to lose her position, so she agrees with Johan. The first thing she informs him is that Ebra is the Queen's bed warmer. Johan tells his father the news. Ebra also breaks her betrothal, preferring to spend time with the Queen. Axel refuses to accept that Ebra and Christina have more than a close friendship, but Johan insists. He believes that Christina is perverted and acting like a man. He partially blames Axel for her behavior, since he allowed her to read and fight. Axel commands that his son stop spilling treasonous words, but deep down he's worried too. He decides to do something drastic, calling the one person he believes will change Christina's mind. The following day, her mother's in court. She states that Christina needs to get married as soon as possible. She also berates Christina for trying to have peace after her father fought and passed away in a way. She thinks Christina's ideas are stupid and meaningless for the people. She's spending a lot of money buying books instead of food and supplies for the people. In her opinion, Christina will fail as a queen because no one will ever see her as a good leader. Maria Leonora's words are like knives in Christina's skin. She knew her mother despised her for reasons she never understood. But to berate her like that in front of everyone is too much. Christina snidely replies that her mother's a shadow of her past, and that even if she was loyal, her father always betrayed her. Maria Leonora leaves with embittered words, saying that she should have let Christina pass away, like all her other children. The encounter only serves to make Christina angry, and filled with hatred for her mother. She's so mad that not even Ebra is left untouched. When she tries to comfort Christina, she pushes her away, saying that she's nothing but a bed warmer and that her company is distracting her. Ebra is heartbroken over Christina's words. She thought that Christina would be different and treat her well, but she acted just like the men surrounding them. She hates tears and feelings. She despises the lack of rationality. For Christina, there's nothing worse in the world than being a woman in a man's world, and Ebra is a reminder of her situation. She tries to act like a man, to be brash, rational, and tough. Christina is smart and strong, but it still isn't enough. People constantly doubt her abilities to rule and question her desires. She has to marry, not because she wants to, but because she needs to have a man at her side. It infuriates her and makes her sick to her stomach. Days go by, and Christina finally has the chance to meet Descartes in person. On his first day there, Christina takes him to a place filled with her advisors and a corpse. She wants him to show her his discoveries regarding the human brain. He shows everyone the part of the brain that controls emotions, saying that one day, humans will be able to control their emotions by removing it. Christina is fascinated. If she could remove that part of her brain, then she would be free of her desires and feelings. They wouldn't be able to hinder her anymore. Some of her advisors aren't so amazed. They call what Descartes is saying heresy and leave the room. Slowly, everyone leaves, and Christina finds herself once again at odds with her people. Axel reprimands her again, but Christina doesn't want to hear him or his opinion. After the meeting, one of Christina's advisors tries to eliminate her, and she ends up hurt. Luckily, Johan pushes her out of the way before she gets shot. Axel and Johan are waiting in her room when she wakes, feeling dizzy. Christina thanks him, but before Johan can seize the opportunity to make his move, Ebra shows up, taking Christina's focus away from him. Johan tries to kick Ebra out of the room, but Christina wants her close. He watches as the lovers embrace, and Christina apologizes for the way she treated Ebra. Johan storms out, feeling slighted and like a fool. There's a council without Christina, in which her advisors discuss the possibility of dethroning her. Christina has no aspirations to marry and have a child. Rumors are circulating the country, and even further, of her desires for women and her relationship with Ebra. The relationship goes against the church, and it must be destroyed. Axel tries to defend Christina, but it's pointless. The seed of doubt is already planted, and people start wondering if it's better to find another heir to the throne, before Christina ruins the country's reputation further. The French ambassador, seeing the unrest and conflict within the country, takes the opportunity to plant his own seeds in Christina's mind. He believes her religion is too restrictive for a woman of her caliber, and that it may be better for her to change. The Pope is also offering her the position of being the Virgin Queen of Rome, and she would never need to marry. Christina may be harsh, but she's not stupid. She knows the ambassador only wants to take her from one jail and put her in a gilded one. The offer may seem good at first glance, but Christina takes it with a grain of salt. She sends him away. Descartes, hearing everything, advises her that it's well to dream of freedom, but only when the person has nothing to lose. Christina has a kingdom to rule, and people will never allow her to do what she wants. Weeks go by, and the people Christina sent to Germany, including her cousin, Carl Gustav, return to Sweden victorious. Carl Gustav is eager to celebrate with Christina, but she slights him by not participating in the feast. Angry at her, he gets drunk and makes a speech. He offers the queen a stuffed lioness that he got from Prague, and says that the only thing it needs is a lion. The people start chanting his name, and pointing out that he should be king. The praise gives Carl the confidence to seek out Christina. He leaves in a drunken stupor. In the meantime, Christina and Ebra are together, going through the spoils of war that Carl brought with him. The two of them start getting intimate, and are interrupted by Carl Gustav. He's blinded by rage at seeing Christina with Ebra, after spending months doing what she asked. He hoped to gain her favor so she would finally accept his hand in marriage. He pushes Ebra away from Christina and holds her in his arms, screaming at her all his grief. The two struggle as Ebra watches helplessly, until Christina manages to push him away. Johan also walks in and holds Christina before she does something she might regret. When he sees Ebra standing he orders her to leave Christina alone. Days later, Ebra goes suddenly missing after being taken by Johan. Erica informs the queen that someone in her family isn't well, so she must have gone to them. Christina gets angry at Ebra for leaving without her permission, and this causes a rift between them. Christina is depressed and heartbroken after Ebra leaves. She believes Ebra went against her orders and left her alone, as everybody else in her life did. Christina refuses to eat and insists on seeing Ebra again. She soon realizes that something must have happened to keep her away for so long, and she blames Johan. The two of them don't have the same relationship as before, when they were the closest of friends, and she accuses him of plotting behind her back. For the first time, Johan feels bad about what he did. He's getting tired of the court scheming, and it's taking a toll on him. Christina's health deteriorates as the days go by without Ebra. One day, she decides to brave Sweden by herself, looking for the love of her life. Ebra finds Christina passed out on the snow-covered ground, and they finally reunite. Christina confesses that she never missed someone so much as she missed Ebra. She kisses her, but Ebra tries to push her away because people are coming. While Christina is on the ground, Ebra quickly approaches the newcomers, Count Jakob and Johan. Ebra is clinging to Jakob, much to Christina's confusion. Jakob then smugly asks for the queen's blessing to marry Ebra, and Ebra confirms her wishes to marry him. It's a blow to Christina's heart, one she didn't expect. Trying to put herself together, Christina gives her blessing. It's very hard for her to be so blatantly rejected in front of everyone, and it digs old wounds. Not for the first time, she wishes she was born not a woman, but a man. Then she would have been able to do whatever she wanted, to have as many lovers as she desired, and no one would say a thing. Her own father betrayed her mother countless times, and yet no one batted an eye. Meanwhile, Christina can't even choose who she loves. Jakob pushes Christina and wonders if she will stay for the ceremony, but Christina denies it. Later that day, Ebra goes after Christina, begging her to allow her into her room. Christina, still feeling the betrayal, doesn't want to see her. She cries in silence as Ebra leaves. Back home, Descartes is sick. He's being poisoned by the church for not complying with their wishes to bring Christina into their fold. Losing him is another blow to Christina. She considered him a mentor and close friend. Now, she feels utterly alone in the world. She has no family left, no lover, and her old friends are all trying to stab her in the back. It's a lonely existence, and Christina can't take it anymore. She's angry at the unfairness of the world. Feeling absolutely alone, she goes after her mother. Maria Leonora might despise Christina, but at least she's honest with her feelings. She doesn't give her false platitudes. Christina starts spiraling. On the day of Ebra's wedding to Jakob, she invades the ceremony, looking sick and in tears. Jakob's brother, Magnus, mocks Christina in front of everyone, but she brushes him off. Christina makes a scene in front of everyone, then she leaves. Axel and Ebra go after her, and Christina dramatically jumps into the river. When she's back in the castle, all her advisors are staring at her in judgment. The only person who isn't against her rule by then is Axel. Feeling angry again, Christina attacks Johan, blaming him for every misfortune that happened to her. After that, Christina feels as if she has no place in Sweden anymore. She has nothing left to lose, except her throne, which is already slipping through her fingers. Sadly, she realizes that no matter what she does, it will never be enough, because she doesn't have a husband by her side. It's pointless to fight so hard for a position that was never meant for her. Not even her mother considers her an heir. With that in mind, Christina decides to accept the position in Rome as the Virgin Queen. For a moment, Christina hesitates. If she accepts the position, she will need to renounce her country, her family, and everything she is. She then remembers Descartes and what it means to be truly free. She must not have anything to lose. When Axel finds out about Christina's plans, he begs her to reconsider her position. If she does that, there will be a civil war in Sweden, and then the country will fall to pieces. Seeing her only ally and father figure on his knees, begging, sends a pang of resolution into Christina. She decides it's time for her to let everyone know her decision. Days later, she goes after Carl Gustav and offers him the position of king. He accepts, believing that she will finally marry him. Christina announces to her court that she knows how hard it is to not have an heir, so she proclaims Carl Gustav will be considered her heir and son from then on. Johan can't believe that after all his struggles, he lost the precious position to Carl. He blames his father for allowing Christina to do whatever she wanted for so long. Before she leaves for Rome, Christina goes after Ebra again to say goodbye. When she finds her in her room, sleeping with her husband and child, she leaves without saying a word. Months later, Christina gave up the throne, crowning Carl King of Sweden. Then, she leaves everything behind to live her truth. She might have lost the person she was built to be, but now she has the chance to be the person she wants to be.